Claire Adams had a life no one really noticed. She lived quietly in a small apartment filled with careful order, soft lighting, and the quiet rhythm of ordinary days. But that ordinary life hid an extraordinary truth. Claire was the majority shareholder of Adams Holdings, a multi-billion-dollar empire. Most people saw her as modest, humble, someone who worked hard but came from nothing. They didn't know she had power, wealth, and influence that could make or break anyone's future. To Claire, this invisibility was a tool. She had learnt early that people respected what they thought they could understand, not what they couldn't. Her father had always told her, hide the part of you they can use, and she had obeyed. Ethan Cole had no idea who he married. He saw Claire as sweet, quiet, and modest, the perfect fiancée for a man like him. Ambitious, charming, and eager to climb the ladder with a wife who wouldn't overshadow him. Ethan's family adored wealth and status, and they loved to judge. They were kind, polite, but cruel in small ways. Comments about her background, jokes about her family, whispers about her ordinary tastes. Claire smiled through it all, her heart breaking quietly behind the veil of her composure. She watched Ethan laugh along, blind to the humiliation they were inflicting. The wedding reception was bright, full of music, flashing lights, and laughter. Ethan toasted with his friends, while his family mocked Clara's every move. His mother said she brought a good heart instead of money. His brother joked she didn't know which fork to use. Guests whispered, glancing at Claire like she was a charity case. Vanessa, a co-worker of Ethan's, leaned too close, smiling at him as though the world belonged to her. Claire's chest tightened with every comment, every laugh, but she stood there, graceful in her white dress, carrying the softness of love she still felt for him. What no one realized was that the quiet woman they mocked had the same power they had been chasing all along. By the next morning, she would hold the pen that could rewrite all their futures. The next day, Claire entered the corporate boardroom with calm confidence. Her presence alone silenced the room. Ethan's family had expected celebration, smiles, and approval. Instead, Claire placed their own words on the screen, the jokes, the insults, the belittling remarks from the night before. Every mocking comment now stared back at them, undeniable and humiliating. She calmly announced, Adams Holdings is withdrawing from the $1 billion partnership with Column Partners. Ethan froze. His carefully built world, the one where he thought Claire was pliable, was crumbling. The woman he laughed at, the woman he thought he could manage, had just reminded him who really held the power. Her voice was steady, quiet, yet it carried weight that shook every person in that room. She didn't shout, she didn't yell, she simply reminded them that respect was earned, not given, and that underestimating someone could cost everything. Claire's apartment was humble, but it had a quiet strength. She folded clothes into a box for charity, each shirt a piece of her life stripped down to what mattered. Outside, people would see a simple woman with no designer labels, no flashy car, no signs of inherited wealth. Inside, she carried her father's lessons, the weight of her inheritance, and a quiet fire of independence. Photos of her and her father reminded her of what mattered. Work done with hands dirty, with laughter, with love for the craft, not the applause. The world measured wealth in cars and parties. Claire measured it in dignity and quiet influence. Ethan's charm had drawn her in at first. He was confident, clean-cut, and knew how to make people laugh. But small moments, little glimpses of his true priorities, showed cracks in his character. At an office party, his arm around a co-worker lingered too long, a touch too familiar. Claire noticed, but she smiled, hiding her hurt. Knowing her power wasn't in jealousy, it was in patience and strategy. She would wait, watch, and act at the right time. By the engagement dinner, Ethan's family had revealed more than Clara expected. They measured her, judged her, and compared her to women they considered worthy. Linda Cole's sharp eyes noted every detail of her dress, her hair, her manners. Richard Cole casually asked what her parents could contribute financially. Every word was a test she wasn't meant to pass. Ethan laughed nervously, siding with his family, revealing his priorities. Claire felt a crack form in her trust, realizing she had married someone who valued approval over her dignity. She listened, polite and calm, storing every slight for the moment she would reclaim control. The wedding day arrived with all its brilliance. Claire walked through the hall in a white dress, her heart full of hope, her mind sharp with strategy. The music rolled, guests cheered, and flashing lights painted everyone in a surreal glow. Ethan smiled, blending effortlessly, his family laughing, joking, oblivious. The humiliation began before any vows were said. Every insult, every whispered joke, every comparison to wealthier women landed on her like a blade, and she held herself upright, soft eyes hiding the storm beneath. This was her stage, but she was not powerless. Ethan's mother, Linda, commented on her simple taste. His brother made jokes about forks. Vanessa Reed lingered, touching Ethan's arm too comfortably. Claire smiled through it all, a mask hiding the pain and determination burning behind it. This wasn't just about her feelings, it was about control, respect, and revealing truths that mattered. By the end of the night, every laugh directed at her would become evidence of arrogance and ignorance, ready to be used in the boardroom where true power lived. Claire's mind raced as she watched Ethan and his family toast, brag about the $1 billion deal they expected, and mock her quietly. Their arrogance blinded them to reality. She had veto power. She held the same pen that could erase their ambitions. Their jokes, their sneers, their lack of respect they had all underestimated her. And she had waited, patient, calm, for the perfect moment to act. The next morning, she entered the boardroom with quiet authority. Ethan expected a celebration. Claire delivered judgment. Each insult, each belittlement appeared on the screen in black and white. She announced the withdrawal of the $1 billion deal. Shock rippled through the room. Ethan's carefully constructed image of control crumbled. His family's arrogance met reality. The woman they mocked, laughed at, and dismissed held the power they desired. She didn't yell. She didn't need to. Her calm voice and undeniable authority carried the weight of billions, dignity, and justice. Claire looked around, noting reactions. Ethan's jaw tightened. His mother's eyes widened. His brother smirked nervously. Vanessa froze. They realized too late that their assumptions had been their undoing. Claire had waited, prepared, and struck at the perfect moment, demonstrating that quiet power was stronger than loud arrogance. She had taught them a lesson about respect, dignity, and underestimating the quiet ones. The aftermath left Claire in control. She returned to her quiet apartment, folding clothes, surrounded by the simplicity she loved. Outside, the world might still see her as modest, ordinary, or unnoticed. Inside, she carried the empire, her father's legacy, and the satisfaction of reclaiming her destiny. Respect, she realized, could not be given. It could only be demanded. And she had done so without losing her composure. Ethan was left to confront the consequences of his choices. He had laughed, ignored, and sided with arrogance. Now he faced reality. His pride, ambition, and charm were powerless against someone he assumed he controlled. Claire's quiet strength had become his reckoning. Claire's victory wasn't just about money or power. It was about proving that dignity and self-respect outweighed appearances. Her life, simple on the surface, was rich in courage, strategy, and intelligence. The world may have judged her as ordinary, but she had become extraordinary when it mattered most. Her friends, family, and loyal confidants saw her differently. Those who valued her character and wisdom now had a deeper understanding of her strength. Those who had mocked, belittled, or underestimated her would think twice. Claire Adams had reclaimed her narrative, proving that true power often hides behind humility, patience, and quiet observation. By the end, Claire was free. Free from judgment, free from arrogance, free from anyone who underestimated her. The empire she inherited wasn't just in numbers, it was in the lessons she had learned, the respect she had demanded, and the dignity she had preserved. And as she looked forward, she knew her life, her love, and her legacy would be guided not by the opinions of others, but by her own unwavering strength,